Nuclear weapons make their triumphant return alongside a host of changes to victories, economic victory, and the Great British DLC launches in just a few weeks' time. Civilization 7 has had its final pre-launch developer update, and it's a big one. And so we begin our final pre-launch story by looking at this just released content roadmap, which includes essentially 3 different parts that will come to the game surprisingly very, very soon. Content collections, these are paid DLCs. Secondly, free updates, patch updates, right? And then finally, events or in-game challenges, these sort of global things that we can participate in. We don't know a lot about those, but we do know quite a bit about the first part. So, let's begin by taking a closer look at maybe the most controversial part of this update. It's the paid DLC hitting Civilization 7 very quickly after its release. In the dev diary, they say that the main piece of content that you or I will engage with are called collections. And this includes essentially new civs, new leaders, new wonders to build, and maybe some other small stuff around the edges. The very first collection on the roadmap, Crossroads of the World, begins just the month after Civilization 7 releases. The game releases, of course, February 2025, and in March 2025, quote, fast off the heels of launch, end quote, we'll see that collection. It will include a game that you, if you're anything like me, may have expected to be in the base game, but just seemingly didn't quite make it. And that's Great Britain. Indeed, we've speculated here on this channel about it being a modern age Civ, or some variation of England, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, the British Empire, etc. It also includes a leader going alongside it, Ada Lovelace. They say a truly novel Civ leader who has a way of mastering a game world unlike any other. Those are the details that they revealed freshly in the developer diary for that first collection. However, it's actually just one part of it, as they talk about later. 3 weeks later, the second half of this very same collection will drop. That will bring a returning leader, Simon Bolivar, to Civilization 7, as well as 2 brand new civilizations to the franchise, Bulgaria, I'd love to go there, as well as Nepal, I'm sure is wonderful too. Except for that airport of yours, my goodness. Moving swiftly along, that completes the Crossroads of the World collection, the first DLC part of this puzzle. On the topic of those DLCs, when we take a look at the upcoming very small fine print, we'll see that the second DLC pack is planned to have 6 DLCs, with 1 releasing each month from April through September. And I imagine that these collections will be available to purchase by themselves at a discount down the line. They'll also be included in the editions of the game that are launching. And just as a brief reminder, here's the Civilization 7 chart from the Steam page. There are 3 different options. Standard Edition, which will not include this DLC that we're talking about at all. The Deluxe Edition includes the pack that we've just discussed, as well as the extra launch leader personas, like deluxe cosmetic packs, that kind of thing. Finally, there's the Founders Edition, the Behemoth one. Doesn't include the physical stuff. I think you have to buy that separately even further still. That edition will include not just the first DLC pack, Crossroads of the World, but also the second one, which they're calling the Right to Rule collection. At the time of recording, we don't know how much they'll cost, but a quick look at my, apologies, New Zealand dollar Steam page says that you need to pay about an extra 40 New Zealand dollars, roughly 21, 22-ish US dollars to upgrade, and then roughly the same again to get to the Founders Edition. So you're paying not quite double, but close to double to get that full-on DLC experience. So then, what does that second DLC collection include? The answer to that is a very unsatisfying at the time of recording. We don't know, dissatisfying. But what we do know is how the free updates will work. And in a nutshell, they'll probably follow a structure that you've come to expect. They're going to collect feedback after the game launches to the masses, and then update the core game. They've got things planned already. Bugs to fix, balance changes to make, quality of life improvements. Speaking of things they already have planned though, it gets a little bit more specific, thankfully. There are a few things that will be included, features that they say didn't quite make the initial launch version of the game. A lot of the pre-planned improvements include multiplayer. Teams are being added to multiplayer. It's being expanded to 8 players for all 3 of the in-game ages, not just some. And Hot Seat, a hotly requested feature, is also being added. To the game specifically, the single player or multiplayer, doesn't matter how you're playing, you'll be able to pick your starting and ending age, something they've talked about before, not coming to the launch version it would seem, as well as a wider variety of map types. And you catch a brief glimpse of the map types available when you're setting up a game through the dev diary here, where they give tips for playing Civ. In short, the tips are: enable the advisors or don't disable them unless they become overwhelming, in which case you could focus on a few. You want to keep your game to the recommended settings, generally small, somewhat manageable. In here we see that there are 6 dots associated, each one presumably reflecting a map type, of course. Not a lot of map types. Maybe due to the distant lands mechanic they reference here. I don't know. I have no idea. That's just speculation. I'd love to see more added. The last slice of pie for part 1 of the video here about the post-launch roadmap is about events. These are events offered in-game. You can opt into them. Challenges mentioned here too, but to be honest, really, not a lot of detail. They'll be coming. There'll be some sort of events and challenges in Civilization 7. That's basically all we know. So let's move through and talk about the second part of the update. Much more closely related to how the game actually plays. We're talking the specifics of victory, the 4 different victory conditions in Civilization 7. If you've not managed to catch any of my videos about legacy paths or points, or indeed anyone else's videos on them, I'm sure there are plenty out there, then let me summarize this very briefly. Each age has a legacy path, 4 legacy paths, based around how the game works: military, science, economic, and cultural. You pursue these paths to earn points, and they'll give you rewards that you can use, benefits that you can gain in future ages. In the final age, these legacy paths effectively turn into the victory conditions, as they describe in the developer diary. The specifics are super interesting. So too is the fact that we are so dang close, 99% of the way towards 100,000 subscribers by Civ 7 Day. And you couldn't have planned it better if you tried. It would seem it's gonna be close. We're at 99k. We need 1,000 more in just a few days' time. Please, if you haven't already, considered subscribing for hopefully some of the great Civ 7 stuff that's out there. Let's get back to that then and talk about victories. The first one is the World's Fair. This is the cultural victory. Reach the end of the modern age legacy path, just like with any other victory condition appropriate to it. You'll unlock the World's Fair wonder, the cultural wonder that you need to complete in any city of your empire to achieve victory. Your culture legacy points from previous ages, the work that you've done towards meeting those goals, will speed up the construction of the World's Fair. Long story short, to win a cultural victory, you need to reach the milestone in the modern age and then build that specific wonder once you've unlocked it. An interesting addition to Civ 7 is the economic victory. This one sees, once you reach the end of the modern economic legacy path, you'll get a unit. It's called a Great Banker. Okay, that's a B. That's Great Banker. Don't you start on me in the comments, you bankers. This unit is able to travel to foreign capitals. It takes just 1 turn to fly between capital cities, and they will be able to establish a World Bank office. Once you establish a World Bank office in every player's capital, you win the economic victory. And of course, in building up to this, you've likely, as we saw in the Modern Age gameplay livestream, been developing your economy, building railroads and factories. All of these will have some build up before you get to it. That's what they mean when they say reaching the end of the legacy path. You still have to do something before you can unlock this victory condition, and then you need to achieve it. The one that I'm not going to lie, I'm most pleased to see here is the Manhattan Project inside of the military victory. Reaching the end of the modern military legacy path unlocks the Manhattan Project. This is a wonder. Once you build it, you'll get a nuclear weapon. This will also let you build more nukes. This is how nukes are included in Civilization 7. I speculated, I should say, I don't mean to blame you, a while back, where are they going to be? We saw the tech tree, and they weren't there. This is where they are. Complete the wonder, get the nukes, and then to go for victory, complete another project, it would seem. Operation Ivy, and the screenshot taking 17 turns to complete. Complete the project to demonstrate the world's first thermonuclear weapon and win a military victory. Finally, the scientific victory, this one perhaps the most familiar. You need to go to space. The scientific legacy path, once completed, unlocks the Staffed Space Flight Project. This can be completed in any city with a launch pad, so there's another condition there, it would seem. Scientific legacy points speed up the construction of this project, and again, we can see it in a city taking 17 turns, completing this project, launching the first man into space, and winning a scientific victory. And that brings us to the end of what was a ginormous update, really. The final one before the launch of Civ 7. The gameplay that you've been watching, don't fret in the comments, Nervous Nancy's, is, of course, my own gameplay, but it's just a repeat of stuff you've already seen. Not breaking the embargo conditions, because I'm just repeating my first gameplay content. The second thing to note is that my review will be coming in just a day or two's time at the time of recording, as that's when the embargo lifts, and then it's just a day until Civ 7 Early Access is out for all of us. So, thank you very much for being here. It's an exciting time. I'm sure you've got plenty of thoughts on actually everything that we've discussed in this video. Some of it is quite thought-provoking, so do leave them down below. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.